What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are not subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe. Also make sure to turn on post notifications because that is actually more important than subscribing to the channel. That way you get notified every time I upload a new video. But today I wanted to do a Q&A pulled from my Instagram, RealKennyKO. I hope you guys get some enjoyment. I took some of the most popular questions or some that I thought you would benefit from the most, and let's jump into it. But before we do that, if you guys need anything, make sure to check out the first link in the description down below. Half Wicked is back up and running. Limited supply, it sells out every time I restock, so keep an eye out for that. Also, I am not a doctor. Do not do anything without your doctor's supervision. This video is all for informational and educational purposes only, so only use it as such. RAD 140 is an 8-week cycle of 20 milligrams per day standard. I would say anywhere from 10 to 20 milligrams per day is gonna be pretty normal. Obviously, taking it pre-workout is gonna be the best and only once per day, as this question mentioned. So 10 to 20 milligrams. For the beginner, I would say if you're a larger individual or you have a high tolerance for what you're already taking, you could bump it up to 30 milligrams. But I'd say for your lab rat, 10 to 20 is usually gonna be safe range. And then once you get to 20 milligrams, it's actually better to add in other compounds to help benefit what you're already taking, because naturally with time, your body's going to adapt to what you're taking. It's gonna build up a tolerance. So what happens is you either need to cycle off, run a post-cycle therapy to allow your body time off of that so that it's not used to getting what you're taking, or you increase the dosage. So it's one or the other, but with increasing dosage comes more side effects with most things you take. So normally the best method is once you get to a certain dosage, just coming off and allowing your body time to recover. Next question, do you recommend test and anavar as a first cycle? I think this question was pretty close. My recommendation most of the time for people just getting into the anabolic world is test is best. You may have heard that saying somewhere in some forum or online, or heard people say it. Test is best. So just do testosterone your first cycle would be my advice. I'm not saying go out and do it, but testosterone is the best. It's always the staple. It should be the foundation of every cycle because testosterone is just the best. I don't know how else to put it. I would say maybe like 250 to 300 milligrams per week of either test sip, enanthate, could do propionate, but you're gonna be pinning way more often. And by pinning, I mean injections. But 250 to 300 for most people for a first cycle, testosterone is gonna be more than enough. Because if you think about it, you could throw an anavar, I guess, if maybe you're trying to shred, but anavar is also very expensive if you get the real deal, and it's often faked a lot, or you're just gonna run into more side effects. So, and a lot of people benefit off of just taking testosterone only, because it offers what most people are looking for: increase in lean muscle mass, increase in strength, drop in body fat percentage. It's just all encompassing. Now, if you were to take every single steroid or anabolic under the sun and throw it into your first cycle, what's gonna happen is you may get crazy gains for your first cycle, but you could have made equally as crazy gains just taking the testosterone, because now you screwed yourself up later down the road where you wanna continue to progress your physique and add things in and increase dosages, but you already started at the grand amount of taking everything under the sun. It left you nowhere else to go. So if you start at the absolute basic, I guarantee you're gonna make results, and then you're also gonna have a lot longer of a career and be able to utilize more and take more, and it's just gonna be better that way. Does the bulk stack require PCT? The bulk stack they're talking about from Half Wicked, yes, it definitely requires PCT because included in it is LGD 4033 and MK677. Now, MK677 is non-hormonal, so you don't have to worry about that. But because it has the LGD 4033 in it, you do, because LGD 4033 is suppressive to your natural testosterone levels, meaning I always recommend, if anything is at all suppressive to natural testosterone levels, run a post-cycle therapy just to be safe. Post-cycle therapy is also on Half Wicked, in case you guys were curious. But recover your natural levels. Make sure you're healthy. Make sure you get your levels back to where they should be naturally, and then start doing whatever you want to do. But yes, it is suppressive, so I would always recommend a PCT. Best SARM to get rid of the quarantine 15. So I think what this question's asking is to get rid of like quarantine, like 15 pounds of fat gained, would be my guess. But for that, I would say honestly, more so than any SARM or compound or anything out there, for losing fat, diet. I'm not gonna tell someone to take some drug or compound to lose body fat, because if you're in a state where you're gaining 15 pounds, I don't believe, at least in my opinion, there's any drug that's just gonna get rid of that. If you don't change your living habits, your diet, your training, your nutrition, to allow you to be in a caloric deficit, a calorie burning state, whether that's eating less calories in the day, burning more calories in your workouts, monitoring your calories so you know you are in a caloric deficit. Now, if you want something to aid in the process of an already existing diet and workout training program to help speed it up, I would say Cardarine or GW501516 is going to be the best bet. Tons of studies behind it. Also increases in endurance, so you get more out of your workouts, more sets, more reps, able to work out longer, harder, get more out of your cardio. So there's a lot to it. I have videos on this channel if you wanted to scroll back and check those out on Cardarine, but that would be my advice. But before jumping into anything, diet and nutrition for sure. Should I go to the doctors and get blood work and a checkup to see if my health is good first? I always recommend blood work, regardless, even if you are on cycle, off a cycle, debate taking your first cycle. It's just good to have that information, that paperwork, that knowledge of what is going on internally inside your body, where your liver enzymes are at, your testosterone, your estrogen, your prolactin, where all of your levels, your cholesterol, get it all figured out. So regardless, like I mentioned, if you're on cycle, I always recommend blood work. Always, 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 especially if you're on cycle. Now, if you are going to be taking a cycle, I always say do it before, blood work during, and blood work after. That way you can see where your levels were at before you start taking any compounds, where they're performing during. Not only do you get to see if what you're taking is real and legit, and then after to see how suppressed you are, what your levels are, and if you bounce back after your PCT or your post-cycle therapy. But for real, what do you think about GW501516 is what they meant to say. I think it is one of the greatest things, especially for sports performance. If you are any type of endurance athlete, a cyclist, a fighter, football player, even bodybuilding for that matter, anything that requires cardiovascular endurance, it is insane. And there's a reason it's banned in professional level sports because of how much an advantage it gives. Not only that, but aiding in fat. But the thing is, Cardarine or GW501516 is just lumped into the same family of SARMs, but it's not actually a SARM, it's a PPAR. So for those of you who weren't aware, it's not actually a SARM, it's just often lumped into it, much like MK677, where MK677 is a growth hormone secretagogue. It's not actually a SARM, but they just kind of all get talked about together. But what do I think about it? I mean, just a quick overview, I love it. I think it's one of the greatest things to ever be developed, and I hope it continues to do that, or if not, if something better comes out. I mean, I don't know what the future holds. What would you pair with MK677 for cutting and or bulking? That's why I specifically built the bulk stack with MK677 and LGD4033. I think those two paired together are just the ultimate for bulking. It's not too much, but it's more than a little. So what I mean is MK677, if you were to run that alone, it'd be like if you took growth hormone alone. You'll get some benefits, you'll get some clearing of the skin, your hair will feel better, you'll just look and feel a lot better. But if you think about taking a cycle of growth hormone with D-ball, you're gonna get a lot more results than if you were just taking growth hormone. So, or if you were just taking D-ball alone, you get more results taking D-ball and growth hormone than you would just taking one. So stacking those two together, and then you're not adding in too many androgens to where you're frying your receptors or to where you're encountering way too many side effects. It's perfect for adding strength, size, lean muscle tissue, everything most people want from a bulk or trying to improve their physique and build their physique would be MK677 and LGD. I believe that's my personal opinion, and that's what I think would be best for a majority of people out there. What's the worst thing you can do while taking SARMs? I mean, there's a lot you could do wrong, but off the top of my head, probably drinking an excessive amount, because some SARMs are a little bit liver toxic, or they may raise your liver enzymes slightly. So, adding to that with excessive alcohol drinking could just escalate it more and more. Improper diet, because a lot of people think SARMs or steroids or magic pills, and that you take them and you can do whatever you want. You're gonna get shredded and diced and have the craziest physique of all time, but that's not the case. So having a poor diet would be one of the worst things you could do. The list goes on, but really you just wanna live the lifestyle you are trying to achieve. So if you wanna be a bodybuilder and you're taking SARMs to further your bodybuilding career, live like a bodybuilder, eat like a bodybuilder, train like a bodybuilder, just live the lifestyle of a bodybuilder, okay? If you want to be a partier, live the life like a partier, but there's a lot of things you could do wrong. Just do your research, be smart, be aware. you should know, I feel like off the top of your head, if you're doing something wrong, you're gonna know you're doing something wrong. Lower back pumps from SARMs. So this actually brings up an experience story. LGD 3303, so not 4033. With LGD 3303, I had such extreme back pumps that I will never take it again. And you know, most people probably hear a back pump and they want to get it because they want just the craziest and most gnarly pump of all time. I am talking, if you have ever experienced a pump, or I mean, most of you probably have that are working out, you know where you get to the end of your set and the pump is just so severe that you can't even lift any more reps. Like that's when you kind of know to call it quits, or you try and squeeze out a couple more reps, but the burn is so bad, you feel the physical desire to stop. LGD 3303, I would be like 2 reps into every set at the start of a workout, and I would start getting this pump. So deadlifting was out of the question. Anything lower back related, out of the question, because I would get the painful pump before I would even get anything out of my workout. So I wasn't even getting good workouts or building the muscle because I would get this pump that was so excruciating. I couldn't move, I couldn't function, I couldn't even work out properly. So it actually hindered my workouts, hence why I will never take it again. It's definitely up for you guys. I don't even know where you can find it now, to be honest. I know Half Wicked doesn't sell it or anything, but I'm sure you can find it somewhere. If you by chance wanted to test it on your lab rat, go ahead, do whatever you want, but at least from my experience, I'll never touch it again just because of those lower back pumps. But that, I guess the question was pretty general, lower back pumps from SARMs. That was the only one I've ever experienced a lower back pump from. So that wraps up the questions. I want to make this video quick, guys, but I'm going to start making these videos a lot more often. Like I mentioned, if you are subscribed, make sure to turn on post notifications. That way you get notified when I upload next. If you are not subscribed, make sure to subscribe and also turn on post notifications. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I mentioned, all these questions were pulled from my Instagram, RealKennyKO. I hope if you are watching this, I answered one of your questions, or maybe you guys pulled some information from one of the questions that you can benefit from. But that's what I want to try and do. If you guys have any questions, you can always DM me, RealKennyKO. I can't promise I will get back to you. Just due to the amount of messages I get daily, it's physically impossible for me to answer everyone, and I apologize. Know that I do read most of the messages, but I just don't have the time to sit there and actually reply to everyone because there's so many. But I appreciate your guys' support nonstop. As I mentioned, if you guys need anything, the link in the description down below, make sure to check it all out. And yeah, just once again, Happy New Year, guys. I hope you enjoyed and pulled some good information, and I will catch you all in the next one.